Woo! Good morning, everybody. This is Drew, and I am working today in Glen Rock, New Jersey. I should probably wait for that thing to turn down. It's so loud. I'm gonna go over here. Maybe it's a little quieter. So I am here in Glen Rock, New Jersey, and we are gonna be installing a medium stacked slate urn in what will be a community park here in Glen Rock, New Jersey. Eventually there's going to be some patio work and some gardens and just little walkways for people to come. It's right across the street from the town library and in the center of town. So this is going to be a well-trafficked area. So they wanted something that's going to be inviting, relaxing, soothing, and something of interest more than just gardens and paths. So over here we've got what they've outlined. That's all going to be a paver circle around this. Centered in the middle is our stacked slate urn, and then on the outskirt of the urn, between the urn and the patio, will be garden space. They'll have other walkways and stuff. They're doing their digging over there for the water line and the electric. So it's going to be a busy little work area for us, but I got myself and Bolivar. We are going to set this up, dig that basin down, sink it about 2 inches below grade. We're going to use this area here as our baseline, just because it's leveling off that way. And then use a extra piece of bib liner almost as an apron, just to capture any of that splash and direct it back into the basin. Okay, first step, we have got our basin here. This is the Aquascape 45 basin. This holds just under 100 gallons of water. It's about 16 inches tall, 4 foot wide squared. It's got an access door for where we're going to be putting our pump and plumbing connections that will run up through the center of it. What we did here, we marked out the outline of it so we know where to dig our excavation. So Bolly's just making those marks now before we pull that away. And then what we're going to do by hand, since this is in a park, there could be some electric or some other issues, so we're doing it all by hand. Excess soil is nice. They're just going to leave it here because they're going to level off that side of the patio. But what we're going to do is just dig this down, drop it in, level it off, backfill it just to hold it in place, and then we can start our plumbing for the urn. We have got the basin completely installed. We dug it down. It's now sunk below the existing grade by about 2 inches on this backside here. They're going to be leveling off that other side just to make this circle patio around it all level. But what we have to do next is kind of a customized fitting on the top side of this urn. Now this is the medium urn. It comes in 2 pieces. We're going to have plumbing run straight up the middle of it using hard PVC pipe, and then we're going to affix that to a bulkhead fitting through the top side of the urn, which will be, this is the inside. We're going to drill this out, put a bulkhead here with an MPT fitting. Also, on the flip side, this will have a nice little standpipe right up to about this height, and that will allow the water to bubble nicely. We're going to drill a hole here for a light. And then there's also going to be 2 lights on either side just to light this thing up at nighttime. So a couple more steps here, but we are making awesome progress. So I mentioned before we're dropping in a bib liner, and that's what this is. So you can kind of see the rough outline of where the basin sits below it. And this is an oversized, we're gonna trim this back once it's all finished, but this here is basically just an apron, like I mentioned, to catch any of that drip around the perimeter of our urn. so everything goes back in and is able to stay in the system to be recirculated. So we probably will cut this a little bit bigger, and then in the corner there is our access for the pump below. So we'll trim out a little flap there, so if it ever has to be serviced or accessed, it'll be there. So he's turning it on again. Anyway, I got no updates. Okay, now that all the machines are gone, we got our plumbing and standpipe through the center of the urn, and it's connected here through a 90-degree to our flexible PVC down here, which we're gonna cut a little shorter, make our connections to the pump with an easy to disconnect fitting. We've also run the line for the light, which is gonna be at the top of the urn, through the rockwork here, and we filled this with big cobbles just to weigh this down, give us some stability. Because this is in a commercial or a public setting, we don't want anyone pushing on it or leaning on it with the potential of it falling. So we really weighted it down. We're gonna sprinkle some gravel, probably 2 bags, just to further weigh this down, just to give it that stability. Got our urn in and connected. All the plumbing and lighting are in. We've got the plumbing over and connected to the pump as well. What Bully's doing now, we are just cutting out this perimeter circle. This is just our splash guard. We've also got a hole cut out for access into the panel should the pump ever need to be cleaned or serviced or whatever the need for that would be. It's there. Now we have this nice area to work with. We're going to start placing in some of these character boulders just to kind of give it some shape, and then we're gonna gravel everything in, set those final lights. Oh my god, it's noisy working in a commercial space here, jeez. We're gonna drop in a couple of these boulders just to kind of naturalize it, gravel everything. We got 2 different size gravel. We got a 1 to 3 inch nice river stone plus a 1 inch stone, so it's gonna be a nice irregular shape around here, and then we'll grade off everything, fill it, flush it, plug it in, and we are done. Okay, we got gravel in, we are rinsing it, we turned it on, it's already working. We're draining it out though to clean up all of this silty water. But we're gonna drop in a couple other big boulders here. Our lights are set. I'm gonna get everything plugged in. They don't have permanent power over here yet. So the town, what they're gonna do, since our power is gonna come out of this corner here, and there's gonna be a 3-foot wide walkway here, they're gonna run like a 2-inch conduit or kind of like a chase pipe under that, and the electric's gonna be on this side here. But that will be all set up here. We're just gonna keep rinsing this out, drop in a couple of other boulders, some larger cobbles, really give this thing a nice natural look, and this thing will be good to go. And just like that, you've got a medium stacked slate urn installed, flowing perfectly. We've got 3 lights in it, one to highlight either side of it, one to light up that water column spouting out the top. This thing is nice and level. It has an even flow all the way around it. It's keeping that splash within our splash guard. A couple of decorative boulders just to kind of give it some shape and some texture. But this is totally something that a homeowner, do-it-yourself family could do if they're looking to introduce a fountainscape or a water feature into their property, but don't want to get their feet totally wet with the pond or with the pondless. You can group these with a small one, medium, and large one, or a bunch of medium ones, however you want. Just some are higher, some are lower. A very unique way of getting water into the landscape. I'm gonna walk over and show you what the plans for this entire garden are so you can see how this is gonna fit into the overall plans. So the plans for this garden here are as follows. Oh, it's blowing over right at me as soon as I came over. So what we've got is our fountain right here in the middle. They're gonna have patios and seating around it. Directly around the water fountain will be a little garden space, and then there'll be a nice little walking path on either side of it, and very well landscaped after it's all done. So this was the first part in this whole entire project. So we'll come back in the springtime once this is finished to show you how it all came out.